So last week, who was it last week?
Rebecca.
It's Rebecca, and she wasn't here. And this week it is
Or online.
Terry Langdon.
Miss Terry, not online.
Okay, it's up to 140 next week.
Yes.
There we go. Is this on me, Jackie, or is this turned?
It is turned. Now it's.
Okay. So, good morning. We got more online. We got a little crowd in here, but thank you to everybody who joined us. So there's a few things I've got to brag about. We had such a good month in March. We closed 61 sides, which is our biggest month we've ever had. Ever. Yeah, 61. So that was good. And people are working. In fact, Wes Covert called me. I talked to him, I don't know, a couple of days ago, and he goes, my God, your agents are working. He said they're busy. And so that must mean they're calling for a lot of pre-quals from Wes. And that's just Wes. Of course, there's other lenders too. So just everybody just keep going. Whatever you're doing, it's working. We've got people doing numerous deals. Joseph has done numerous deals. Jared closed, Anna closed like a domino one that was 5 houses. So everybody's producing, everything counts. Even if it's one, it's not always going to be 5 at a time. Sometimes it's just one. So be proud of everything you're doing, because I hear other offices complaining that it's slow. And somehow we're not slow. Chris has a ton in escrow right now, huh?
Well, I just put several in and then I got several more I'm working on, but I want to add to that. I had my new listing, I went to see if I could get some agents to open houses
Yep.
within minutes. I had 3 other agents that were jumping on doing open houses,
Yeah,
which is
it's amazing
pretty cool.
what people do here. The Post.
Tina, Maria, Sharice.
Yeah. I think all of the agents feel comfortable calling and asking, do you have anything? Do you have anything to do open houses? And then on the flip side, agents are put it in the downtown in the know. Hey, I need somebody, and people are on it. So that is amazing. So I'm so happy about that. I don't know what we're on track to do, April, but it's going to be a good month the way it's going. It's great.
We're barely on day 9. I already have 3 logged, and I think I have 4 that I haven't logged. So I think we're at about 7 deals, and it's barely the 9th.
Yeah, so we're doing, yeah, so we're moving along. Oh yeah, Century 21 also challenged us to golf. We won. We won.
Was it close?
No,
No.
wasn't even close. They blew him out of the water. Gunner was on his way. I think he's installing a stove somewhere, but yeah, so yeah, I don't know. They keep challenging guys. I guess they were mad. I don't think they were real happy about the whole thing.
I believe
Who
that.
played? Just Adam and.
No,
No.
actually, he didn't even play. So it was Sean Harper and Mike Leva that put together the team and challenged.
Oh, okay.
So someone from Keller has challenged downtown to go up next month. So the challenge is taking place once a month. And then the game plan is that the guys want to do like either almost semi-weekly or weekly kind of get-togethers at the municipal court, and kind of like get them oiled up, and then also whoever else wants to get in there to be one of the golfers. So this time Rebecca didn't golf. This time in her place was Anthony Hargis, and they said he did really good in helping him. So Luis and Gus are currently on the chopping block of being replaced for better golfers. That's according to Luis.
That's, I was like, I didn't say that. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. This time it was not me, I promise.
Even though Luis is the one heading it, he is willing to drop down if there are better golfers. So if you think you are a better golfer from DT office,
Go and play, go, have fun. They have fun with it, but yeah, they won. So we'll see how we do against Keller. I don't know who they've got over there that would be golfers. This is the thing though, they've got to be actual agents. It's not like affiliates, it's not friends, it's agents. That way it's, yeah, nothing like that. So I don't know. So we still
I don't know how good They are. I mean, I play golf, but I'm not gonna say pretend like I'm good,
Yeah.
like great.
That's how you go and play and see how you
Because
are,
it's
so
a
we know.
scramble, it's a best ball. It's not everybody golfing, you know, they work off the best ball, but I mean, you might as well go and try because it's fun and, you know, and it's a good thing. So we still have the belt. We have not
Mhm.
given it back. So hopefully we don't next month either.
And I believe Luis is having them marked on the belt each of our wins.
So we still,
Rub it in.
yeah, to really rub it in.
And so it's marked. I think, I don't know for
You
sure.
can't mark it, you have to punch it in.
You have to punch it. Chris says you have to punch it on leather.
I think they were gonna laser or something.
Well,
Oh,
Yeah, something they're doing. Okay, so anyway, that's that and super excited for that. And is there any other business, Jackie, before I get into the training? No?
I did send out that policies and procedures, so a few people have asked about it, but pretty much it's, everybody will be getting to sign it too. But it was more, we're growing so fast and some people are, or have gaps between when they get a closing and or a listing. And forgetting like, what do we do regarding the signs, or what do we do regarding this? So kind of like a helpful reminder what our current steps are, so that if we change something, it'll be on there, so that way it's like what our procedures are all the time.
Yeah. And good job on open houses too, guys. Not just the volunteering part, but man, there's a ton of open houses. Cause I try and get in there and share them all. Sometimes I can't even keep up with it. But there's a lot of open houses and multiple on one house and working together on that. It's just so good to see that. I don't know if there's as many open houses at other brokerages. I don't know if I'm seeing as many. Seems like we do, but you know, of course, I watch our stuff a little bit closer than anybody else's. So
I see the signs every now and then, but I don't think they blast it the way we do.
yeah, so good job on that. So this week, we're back to week 2 of the ultimate sales machine. So it's turbocharge your business with relentless focus on 12 key strategies. Some of these do not apply to real estate, I will tell you. That's why I kind of read through the book. I've kind of summarized everything. There's some things that's more like dealing with businesses that have employees that just, it doesn't apply to us. But that's why I went through, kind of got through what, you know, went through, summarized stuff, picked out the highlights. If it's something that's interesting to you, get this book and read it. So again, the ultimate sales machine we've added to our library. Atomic Habits, if you have not read Atomic Habits, read Atomic Habits. That one is one of the pillars of what you should be reading. 7 levels of communication, 4DX. What else have we read?
Knowing exactly what to say.
Yes, and I'm gonna do a repeat training on knowing exactly what to say, I think. Or I'm gonna pick one sentence for every training and start the training with that one phrase that we all need to use. Okay,
And then never lose a client.
never lose a client was the other one.
And each of the offices has the books now, or they will have by the Friday. So you can easily find the quote unquote library, so you can snap it, so you know which ones to buy. We do have Atomic Habits and 7 levels of communication available where you can purchase them from us. But the others I don't know.
But we'll have them in the, if you want to read them and look at them there,
Mhm.
see if it's something you want to order. I get more out of the books, actually reading them than doing the Audible. But I still sometimes get Audible, but I find myself losing. I'm driving along and all of a sudden I've missed a whole chapter. I don't know why. Like I'm just daydreaming, but when I'm reading. And I do that in a more controlled setting. So I'm at home, you know, I do it a certain time of day and I'm reading. So for me, that's easier, but everybody learns differently. So last week we talked about pig-headed discipline and determination, and you will find that throughout this book. Chet Holmes, that's what he goes back to all the time. He wants you to be so disciplined and determined that you're doing things over and over and over. We talked about time management. That's the 6 steps to time management. That was super important. That's Atomic Habits. Everybody needs to focus on that. We talked about regular training and being comfortable because you're training and you know what to say. So this week, I'm going into the art of getting the best buyers. So what I applied this to, he's saying when you're doing direct mailers, do you want to focus heavily on 100 buyers, or do you want to focus on 10,000 buyers once? Which is what I always try and train people with farming. You know, when you are going to be farming an area, pick a small group to focus on. If you do 10,000 and you send out 10,000 postcards one time, you're not going to get anything. It's not going to happen. I mean, maybe you would, but you would be very lucky if that was the case. He's saying, get the best buyers, focus on 100 buyers, focus consistently on 100 buyers. And I put as a farm, because that's what we consider a farm. And he's talking about do the best neighborhood strategy. So price point, you're going to focus on price point. You're going to focus on maybe the size of the neighborhood,
Turnover.
turnover. What the sales are. I would also look and see if there's an agent that absolutely dominates in that area. You might want to go head to head with that agent. You may not want to. You might want to go to an area that, and it might be transitional. I know agents always want to go to the high end, but really, maybe it's a more of a transitional neighborhood where there's younger families, outgrowing houses, but just be strategic and pick one and stick with it. Don't send out 100 mailers, 100 postcards, and you get nothing and give up. Don't do that. So yeah, he put this in here. If you send something every month, somebody sends you something every month. When do you look at the flyer? When will they look at the flyer? Well, only when they're really interested in selling, right? So it's timing. A lot of it is timing. If you do it once a year, you're gonna miss that timing. If you do it once a month, the percentages of you getting that done, of connecting with that time, are a lot more, right? It's gonna be a lot more. So pick a good neighborhood. Stick with it. Don't give up. Don't give up. If you can't do 100 a month, figure out what the budget is, what your budget is for this kind of marketing. Maybe it's 50. Maybe it's 50. And just consistently hit these people with postcards. You can walk the neighborhood. You can do flyers. There's tons of things. You can get creative with it. And as you get engulfed with these people, if you meet them, if you're out flyering, try and get their names, write down their address, have a clipboard, write down their address, write down their name, and then put them in sync, because now you've got that. If you can get an email or a phone number, you're golden. If they ask you a question when you're out flyering, tell them you're going to get back to them and get their phone number. Right? Ask them like, oh, I may not have that info right now, but I'll get back to you on that, or I can get you that. Try and get that info out of it, because it's super important to do that. So that's the way to really handle getting really good buyers. Focus on them and don't give up, and don't do too big of a farm. It could be your SOI that you're focusing on, but I think SOI, it's going to be harder. I mean, you can do your SOI, but you should be reaching out to them anyway.
Yeah.
I would do this in addition, a farm, and I would figure a budget for it. And once you make one sale, or if you get a listing, that is gold. If you get a listing in your market, in your farm, oh my God, then you can go nuts with that, right? Because then you can do circle prospecting. You can do circle prospecting anyway. It doesn't even have to sell anything. You could do it off somebody else, a new listing. You could call those people. But if you get a listing, then you can do an open house. Then you can meet neighbors. I mean, then you're putting a face to a name.
And aside from that, if someone in our office, like let's say for instance, has a listing in one of those same neighborhoods you're targeting already, be the one to do the open house there too.
Yes.
Like, get it going.
So there's lots of ways. Get creative, and again, be very strategic about what you're doing, and organized and calendared. Like, you should know if you're going to market a farm for a year, you should know what you're doing every month, and not the month of, like at least 6 months out. I would sit, I'm going to do this postcard. I'm gonna do a recipe postcard. I'm gonna walk the neighborhood. I'm going to, whatever it is you're gonna do. No, so you're already ahead of the game. You're not struggling and you don't miss it. Because you can miss it 1 month and that's the month somebody decides to list and you're not top of mind anymore. Okay, dream affiliates. So those are our vendors, right? You know, think about who you can partner with, who you give business to that you would like to give business back to you. So what would it be?
Vendor.
House cleaners, right? If you're sending people to clean houses, they're cleaning other people's houses. They're gonna know who's moving. The owners are going to say something to them. If they get that lead for you, you could give them, you know, you can give them a gift, you can do something for them. Pest control people, pool people, yard people. I mean, who else do you use for vendors, Chris, that you've partnered up with before?
Well, people, handymen,
Handyman,
Home inspectors.
home inspectors, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, painters. painters.
Anything, anybody that you can kind of co-market with, partner with. I mean, if you, restaurants, if you are doing. I mean, if you, you could go a step further with that, like if you, for a buyer, when they close, if you do some sort of a closing packet for them, not necessarily the gift, I'm getting away from a gift, but let's say you gave them a binder with whatever it might be, like their closing documents, their settlement statement for their taxes, right? Because they're gonna need that. That goes in there. Their home warranty info. What about if you put the name of a handyman, the name of a painter, pest control people, the pool people? What if you marketed those people in there? They know you're marketing those people and tell them, if you reach out to them, let them know I sent you, right? That is helpful. And then you, hopefully you can cross refer with people. It's gonna be easier to refer a pool guy than the pool guy to refer a house. But look at the money difference. We're talking about 100 and some a week or a month as compared with, you know, a commission. So don't get frustrated because all it takes is one. And you're doing service for your clients and you're able to also market these vendors. Lifetime value of a client. What are you gonna do to keep your clients? What are you gonna do for a lifetime, right? Stay in touch, Maribel says. What level of service are you going to provide that is special because these clients are special? You've got to have that mindset. Like when I close an escrow, I was thinking about on the way over here today, somebody sent me a text like, hey, we're getting ready to sell our house. I have done 5 deals with these people, same people. I've sold a rental, sold their main house, sold them another house, sold that house, bought another house. Now they're going to be listing this house with me, 5. It's not because they're related to me and they have to use me. They remember me. I do something, I gave them good service. And after the fact, I did more than just close the deal and walk away. So you want to make them feel special, right? So we do that through events, inviting them to events. The campaigns through Sync, holidays, care calls. You want to make sure that you are putting in those care calls to those people. I've seen Chris do it. I've seen Chris make care calls to people. He just calls somebody, just checking in. It's so natural for Chris to do it. If you ever want to see something interesting, sit with Chris when he does care calls. He just picks up the phone and calls them and it's like, hey, I haven't talked to you for a while, just checking in to see how it is. It's not awkward. It's not weird. They love it. I've literally heard Chris get 3 leads in one session of him just calling people. So don't forget those care calls. Make sure they are in sync. Sync is going to be the way you keep organized. So if they're in sync, all of this ties with sync, right? You can invite them to events through a mass email. You can set up the holiday campaigns. You can schedule the care calls, birthday cards. Once they are, you can ask them when their birthday is, you can stalk them on Facebook. If they're a buyer, ask the lender, they know when their birthdays are because they've seen their licenses, so.
That's the best way to find out their birthdays is the lender.
The lender, call the lender. I would also do a 1-year home anniversary. Now, a lot of this applies to buyers, but even if sellers move out of the area, don't forget them. Include them still in sync. Keep doing these same things because they may refer somebody or they may move back. You never know. Home Pulse, make sure you're putting them in Home Pulse, which is on sync. Right, so that they're getting the value of their home, especially for a buyer, they're gonna be super excited to get that every month. Oh, and if people are thinking of selling, once they get ready to sell, that's gonna be interesting to them. Referrals. Make sure that you are asking these clients that you made happy for referrals. Ask them. You've got to ask them. They might give it to you, but if you don't ask for a testimony or a referral, you're probably not going to get it. Give them a gift. Like I always say, I know you guys have heard this, referrals are gold. I give a better closing gift or a better gift to a referral than the actual seller or buyer. Because I want them to keep giving me that. I mean, that's so good. And when you get a referral, you got to make them proud, right? When they refer somebody to you, I call right away. I call the person they referred. I'm on it. I want them to know it's important to me. I'm calling them. I call them and then I give I let them know what happened. I give an update to the person that referred. Hey, I want to let you know, thank you so much for referring Chris to me. You know, I'm going to take such good care of them, and I'll say something like, I'll make you proud, you know, or something like that. I just, whatever you're comfortable saying, but just give them excellent service and then get those results in referrals and testimonials from these clients, right? From these lifetime clients that you're trying to build. Because you got to get that mindset. It's not about we make the sale and we're done. We make the sale and it goes on. There's still our clients. Okay, Jackie, next slide. Do we have questions?
No, well, JP asked if he could share his write-off list that he found for tax season. And then Tracy says that she sends cards out on birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, and change of season.
That's perfect. JP, if you can send us that list, we can somehow put it in the chat or do something.
We can put it in the note.
We can put it in the note, JP. That'll work. Okay, so the 7 musts of marketing. And understand, guys, all of this stuff is layering, and a lot of this is repeated throughout this. Things cross over. Marketing, branding, it's all layering. You don't do, typically you're not going to do one thing and get a perfect result. It takes all of these things to do it, right? So advertising.
But what's this called? The 7 what?
Musts, MUSTS of marketing.
On TV.
So advertising. Any advertising you do must be distinctive and stand out. You need to tell them what you want in 3.2 seconds. Our brains, they lose people. That's why on social media, when they you know, if you listen to these people that are really good on social media, you've got to start right away. You can't wait and then start in like, hi, you've already lost them. They're gone. They're going to the next one. It's got to be immediate. You've got to hit them right away. Use you or your, not we. So direct your advertising to them. It shouldn't be about you. It's about what you can do for them. Okay. Communicate your message and that makes you want to read on. So you can hit them with something that's a grabber, that's a teaser, right? And then go into something else. I mean, and a lot of this can be social media. It can be advertising. Focus on the prospect, make it benefit oriented, and have a call to action. That's what he's saying is super important in advertising. He talks about billboards. We all know this. Billboards, you do not get business from a billboard.
No.
You absolutely get zero business from a billboard. they've got to be remarkably distinctive or they are a waste of money. So it's gotta be like something that totally pops out and people immediately recognize what it is. Or don't even do it because they're too expensive. You're not gonna get a direct response. It's more about branding. We had ours on 65 and I would get people taking pictures and sending me the pictures because it was at that stoplight, Strathmore, which was really cool. And they'd send it to me. But I never got business because of it. It just was more like they recognized me. It was kind of that kind of thing and branding. But I see that there's some billboards and people put like little phone numbers on there, like call me. You're driving by at 70 miles an hour. I'm not going to get that number. It's so weird when they do that. And so he says, make it like visually pleasing, but simple. If you're going to do a billboard, don't make it too busy because people won't see
Like I've seen
anything.
some that I think are good. Probably the only one I've ever seen that was good besides the one that had us on it, of course, but it was like I'll buy your house if I can't sell it, or it was like some little catchphrase like that,
Right.
like if I'll sell in 30 days or I'll buy it myself.
Call to
or
action,
whatever,
something
yeah,
like that.
exactly.
The one that I think is funny, the billboard, is that one about it's about toilets. It's going up to Fresno and it's so funny. It's very clever and it's something to do with toilets, but he's a plumber. And the air conditioning ones that says something like, is your wife hot? And but he's an air conditioning guy. Like those are clever and it does get your attention.
The how mad is she? Bouquet of
Yeah,
flowers.
how mad is she? The 3 different sizes of rose, a bouquet of flowers, that's a good one. Direct mail, if you're doing postcards, education-based marketing makes direct mail more powerful. So what I thought of with that was when you're talking about how I used to send out postcards that said, curious about the current value of your home, or, prices have gone up, just something. And it was very simple. And it was just say, reach out to me and I'll give you the current value of your home, which is basically what it was. So it's a little bit on the education based. He says this, but of course he's dealing with different businesses. I don't know how you exactly do education based on a postcard. It's a little tough.
Well, what I use on the Wise Pelican, what I like about their template is you have 2 options, but there's an option that you can pay extra. And it has a little segment where it'll say scan here for value of your home. And the minute they scan that QR code, I get a notification that someone scanned it. Now, if they don't plug in their information, I still know that someone at this address scanned the code. So they're slightly interested. Now, if they go forward and actually plug their info, it sends me the info too.
So for direct mail, I think people look at postcards rather than letters. When you send a letter in an envelope, I do it. I think about what I do. I look at this letter. Yeah, I rip that up and throw it away because I know it's junk mail, right? But a postcard, if it's bright and it looks good, then I'll read it. I'll see what it is. I read the ones from Equity Group, property management, right? Because I want to see what they're doing. And they're very simple and they're very bold and they look really good. So I would say for direct mail, postcards are the way to go. I would get on Wise Pelican. I would look at that. And again, postcards are going to be what goes to your farm, right? You can do it to your sphere of influence. You can, because you're going to have their mailing addresses, but I've always had better luck doing it to a farm than my sphere. I do different things to my sphere than that. That's more general. I try and do it.
So the QR code, it wasn't the same on all the postcards. It was unique to each house.
Yeah, so you paid an extra 25 cents or 50 cents, and so then it was targeted it was like pre-tapped to them.
And it's called Wise
Wise Pelican.
Pelican.
Pelican. Yeah.
Like the bird.
Brochures and promo pieces. I think brochures for us are going to be like our listing presentation, our buyer's presentation, any promo pieces. We could email those to people because brochures we can email. We can also have them at open houses. So we talked about that, taking buyer presentations and listing presentations to open houses, having those there. So that when people come in, they have something to take away. Especially if it's a neighbor and they're thinking of selling and you've got a listing presentation there, you've already got that into their hand. That's good. That's powerful.
Another thing on that, what I did before was I co-branded with a local restaurant. And we did the door hangers,
Yep.
and it was that restaurant. And then it had my picture and it said, have a free drink on me.
Oh, that's awesome.
So basically, or it was a free something. It was, I think, a free drink or a free, it was a nice restaurant that had opened up. They paid for all the stuff. And so their part was paying for I designed it. They paid for it all. And I went out and I hung them all on the doors, and it was go to this place, have a drink. It brought them business, gave me some recognition, like as if I'm getting them that free drink, but they were given the free drink because they're buying food, or whatever it was. So that's something that could be, I think, right under the promos and birthdays.
I think that's promos, yeah. Giving away something free, getting them to somehow.
I think there's a lot of restaurants that you could go to and say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm doing a promo piece. I love your restaurant. Would you be interested in partnering up? We can co-brand it.
Who paid for the drinks? Did you pay for them or the restaurant? The restaurant, yeah. Because they're making the majority of the money anyway. I mean, you're doing the footwork by putting them on the doors for them.
Yes.
And it was usually a non-alcoholic drink, right?
It wasn't alcoholic. I don't even remember if it was a drink. It was free something like tacos, or it was like a free taco with, or whatever it was.
Something.
It was something. I can't remember exactly.
It was probably something with the purchase of something.
Well, it wasn't with the purchase of something, but they're assuming if somebody's coming in to get this item, they're getting dinner.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they're gonna
Right.
buy some. So
Right.
and then it was cool because I stayed in touch with them and they let me know how many got redeemed.
Oh, that's good.
So it was kind of cool to be like, oh, people are using them,
You could also do that if you left, like we talked about earlier, a binder for people. You could put that sort of to get them acquainted with different restaurants and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
That's a good idea. So that would be under promo. And focus and also on any kind of brochures, focus on what we do to sell your property. Remember what Austin said, he doesn't talk about himself, he talks about what he does to sell the property. It's more action, right? Not just me, this is what I'm gonna do for you. So that's the advice he gives on that. Public relations, so I would say public relations for us is fundraisers, food drives, any charity event we go to. Any client appreciation, that's public relations, right? When we do cheers to clients. Booths. So whenever we do the food drive, that's public relations. Whenever we did the food, the putting the boxes together, the bountiful boxes, public relations. Booths. So the Alliance team did a booth. If you're gonna do a booth at like some sort of an event, you better get noticed. And you need to stand out, you gotta make it fun. They did. Weren't they doing some kind of game or?
I forgot what they did at the chili cook-off, but.
No, not the chili, it was the one out here.
Oh, we did cornhole, and then they got a
Cornhole.
shirt. If you made it in, you got a shirt.
Yes, if you made it, so they had a little contest. They had tons of people at their booth. So they're making connections. And you're trying to capture leads at that point too. To compete, you probably want to get, their name or something, have them do something. But if you're gonna do a booth, make it fun, make it stand out. He said, like, if you're gonna do a booth somewhere, everybody wear Hawaiian shirts or everybody, just make it where it's not just, put some effort into it, whatever it's gonna be.
Don't blend in, stand out.
Don't blend in, stand out. Customer service. So I feel like customer service is more personal contact. It's gonna be our care calls, our personal invitations to events. What else, Jackie? We were talking about that. Customer service. What else was that this morning? We were chatting about. You brought something else up.
I said more than anything, it's how you make them feel. It's
Yes.
The impact you leave.
For your customer service. So make sure, whatever personal contact you do, make sure it's sincere. And do it. Don't ignore that part of it. Because I think a phone call is so much more powerful than anything else. The market education, that was what we talked about. marketing through by educating people. We talked about that in part one. So make sure that, you know, you are educating your clients, putting trust, you come across as the expert. Make sure you're educating them every step of the way. And the internet for advertising is social media to me. And if you're going to do social media, make it stand out. Again, if you're going to do videos, get right to the point.
And not even just social media, your Google business page and your, all
Google,
your,
yes,
all your business profiles, your realtor profile, your Zillow profile, because you wanna be where you can be found.
right. So Google, all of that. We also, what's going on with our newsletter?
It's finished, but I gotta edit, double check the, market update.
Are we doing that monthly or quarterly?
The goal is to do it monthly.
Monthly, we're gonna have a free newsletter that's branded with downtown for you to send to your clients. And whatever way, you can post it on social media, you could do a mass email, there's a lot of ways you could do it. Okay, so all of those things work together for marketing. None of them work separately, they all work together. What does it say?
JP wants to do, a golf tournament next year in March or April.
Okay, and he's also talking about Jim Steele with J&R Meat Company. Jim's partnered with them. So that hits different ways, right, Jim? I mean, you've got social media involved there. She's a vendor, so you're doing things together. I mean, what else, what is that doing for you?
Well, I mean, I've only had it up since Monday and I've already added 25 new people, new friends on Facebook.
That's
That I
awesome.
wouldn't have had, so, and we're gonna run it through early May, and so, it's funny, they're sort of experts on social media.
J&R?
Yeah, their daughter is, and so she's been helping me, like,
That's good,
when's the best time to repost? She said Sundays are horrible.
right?
Monday mornings and then Thursday mornings, and you just sort of don't want to hit them too many times during the week. So it's an education, even though I'm an IT kind of guy, it's different than what I'm used to, you know?
Well, it's about social habits, right? I mean, it
Mhm.
deals more with that kind of human nature and when the best time to post. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Can you flip it?
I think that's what we should learn about.
Yeah, I think we need to do a class on social media. We need to,
Ronnie,
either Ronnie or maybe she could come in and talk to us if she knows.
Yeah.
Either if Ronnie's not, but either one.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, the eyes have it. So humans remember 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see, and 50% when we hear it and see it. So you've got to think about when you're doing visual things. Red is, if you're using the color red, that's passion, danger. Blue is tried and true, cool and refreshing. That's why all the water companies use blue. They all use blue. Orange is value. Home Depot is orange. A lot of, if you think about, you know, we're very dependable. Green is money. It also is like green from the garden. But he says, use colors that best suit your main message. So think about that when you're doing it. Make sure that you're putting some thought into it and that things are visually appealing.
Mhm.
People like pictures, photos better than just graphics. They look at pictures and then you can have your posts with it. Okay, next one, Jack, is the nitty gritty of getting the best buyers. Okay. So we talked about the Dream 100. You know, make sure you're contacting them more frequently. You need organized, consistent, and relentless program to win them over as clients for life. No matter how many times they say they aren't interested, because without being absolutely obnoxious, but just contacting these people, they start having a little bit of respect for that. Like, man, you know, this guy, he keeps calling me. I'm gonna go ahead and use him. It's not being pushy or horrible, but just respectful, but consistent. Being pig-headed, persistent, and determined, and continually finding more clever and aggressive ways to get in front of these dream buyers, earn their respect. So he's saying, again, you've got to be persistent and determined. People respect persistence in the face of resistance. It's also lends itself well. If you are persistent that way, how are you going to be when you're their agent? You're going to stand up for them. You're going to be there for them. Choose your Dream 100. Use Sync to store the info. Gifts are useful. Keep selling. Do phone calls. Make sure you're doing the phone calls. What's the next? What's the next one? I'm not sure if this is the next. Yeah, sales skills. Establish rapport. So you want to establish rapport, an emotional bond or friendly relationship between people based on mutual liking, trust, and a sense they understand and share each other's concerns. So the main sales skill is establishing rapport with somebody. You know, how do you establish rapport? Trust. They feel like they're working with an expert. That's going to come from educational marketing, right? That's going to be from your training, knowing what to say, understanding things. You want to come across as knowledgeable. Ask great questions. You want to keep asking questions of your client. Have a sense of humor, commiserate with them, care, find common ground, and mirror them. So sometimes you can't mirror them. It depends what their personality is, but if you can mirror them sometimes, you know, it helps. I think the biggest one for me is to establish the rapport, you've just got to get a bond with them. You've got to find some level to connect with people so they trust you. And sometimes that's taking a step back and, you know, not pushing properties down people's throats, but just showing it to them. And I'll ask my clients, you know, I'll ask them, what do you think about this neighborhood? Or what do you think about, you know, like, it's okay. Like, you want to understand what motivates them and what they like and what they don't like. The second skill is to qualify the buyer. Find out what they're looking for and what will influence them to buy. Ask questions, right? Find out what they're looking for. Don't just assume, because half the time that's going to go wrong. Build value. You need to build value for your service. They got to know why they're paying you. Create desire. That could be showing them some beautiful homes, right? And create that desire, letting them imagine themselves in that home. Like, oh my gosh, this backyard would be so great for the kids. So amazing. Overcome objections. The toughest objections are the ones you don't know. Find out the objections early. That's why I think it's important to say, if the neighborhood seems a little odd, say, are you okay with this neighborhood? Bring it up early. Don't let them stew about it and get right to the end of closing. And they're like, yeah, we don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
I address it right at the start. I mean, I don't want to keep hammering them like, oh, I think this house is horrible. Do you guys, you know, are you sure you like this house? It's horrible. Not that, but just bring up those objections, ask lots of questions, close the sale, assume the sale. Agents say to me, how do we get them to make the offer? That is a big one, like showing a house and then getting to that next step. For new agents, they don't know what to say. I don't know what I say. I mean, I show the house and I'm like, oh, what do you guys think? Would you like to write? If they say we love it, okay, do you want to write an offer? I mean, just ask.
Yeah.
Do you want to write the offer?
The CS personalities, I feel like I have to ask. All my IDs, pretty much, they're right away, okay, I love it, let's make an offer. Sometimes I have to tell them, hold up, it doesn't even pass FHA, I don't think we can.
Yeah, yeah. So you want to make sure that I also explain the process. What happens after they make an offer? Because sometimes they're scared to make the offer because they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know they can back out. They don't understand the contingency. So I think explaining all of that, it helps them, it relieves some of their stress. You come across as the expert, they're going to feel comfortable with you. And then the last step is the follow-up. You know, just make sure that you're following up with people after you've met with them, shown them property. Don't, you know, keep contacting. Even I've had people that I've sent listings to. I don't hear anything until they tell me not to. I do it, because all of a sudden, one they'll like, and they'll go, oh,
Yeah.
that one looks good, let's go see that one. So I never give up on that.
Mhm.
Okay, Jackie, next one. Follow-up and client bonding. So on your follow-up, you should be highly procedurized, okay? And you've got to have follow-through. You should have an exact schedule of what you are doing once you close a deal with somebody. What happens is you're top of mind during sales, and then you close, and then they forget about you. So you're out of sight, out of mind. That's why you better keep doing all this SOI follow-up. Otherwise, when they go, I've seen it, agents sell somebody a house, they don't put them in sync, they don't ever call them again, and 3 years down the road, you see that house listed with somebody else. And you're like, wow, I should have stayed in contact with them, but you didn't. If you did not bond well during the whole transaction, it's even more important to stay keep up with the follow-up. Because especially if they are having problems, do not back away. Do not think I've closed the deal. These people were a pain in my butt, I'm done with them. As soon as they have a problem, you better still care, that you're gonna show you care, because if you don't, they sense it. They think you just were there, and they'll never use you again. Things go wrong, and you've got to learn how to realize when they're venting and when they're angry at you. And agents think they're mad at them. Most of the time, they're just venting. And and then you'll say, well, at this point, what we can do, and you give them their options, but you're there to listen to them. You should have a follow-up schedule. You should be giving these people utility lists. They really should have that before you close, but if not, give it to them, at the final walkthrough. This is who you need to call for utilities. I call and check in 2 days after we close. I call and check in 7 days after we close. I call and check in 30 days after we close. And then it's, I put them in and it's on the anniversary, then they get worked into my SOI schedule. You better be adding them to sync. You should probably add their 1-year anniversary and remind yourself so you can send them a card for their 1-year anniversary. You should be inviting them to events, and you should make sure they're on home pulse. Okay, so make sure you're bonding with them and you're following up. Next slide, Jeff. All systems go. So setting goals is not simply about writing them down. It's important, but it's mastering your focus. Okay, so he says, don't do 4,000 new things, but do 12 things 4,000 times, right?
Yeah.
People want to do all this new stuff. Just focus on what you're going to do and do it well. When we had Porter Street Barbecue, this is what I always think about. I used to own Porter Street Barbecue. We had a very limited menu. And what we did well. There was very little waste. We were hyper focused. We knew exactly what we were doing, and we were experts at that barbecue. That's the mindset you need to have with real estate. Like, I'm not going to learn and try and do everything. I'm just going to focus on what I'm going to do and do it well. And then he talks about this thing called RAS, and it's reticular activating system. And I'm going to read you a little something about that. The reticular activating system is that awesome computer in the brain that most of us never use on purpose. Every day we have thousands of thoughts that seem to leap in and out of our minds. The truth is that those thoughts affect every cell in our body. Our cells are completely reactive to the environment in which they dwell. And thought is one of the most powerful sources for creating that environment. When you keep your thoughts focused on all the positive things in your life and the positive things you want to happen in your life, you awaken and purposefully focus your self-conscious to create outstanding improvements on every front. Oh, exactly. I was talking. Who manifests? Who does manifesting? I do too. So I go at things. Don't say, I'm going to have a wonderful day. It's,
I'm having
a wonderful day. It's in the current. I do it with deals. When I'm having a problem on a deal, I will say, I am so excited that everything got worked out, that the problems got worked out. I'm so excited that that deal closed. If you focus on the problems, of course, you've got to address them, but don't focus on the negative. You've got to focus on, there is power. Your
Mhm.
brain is hearing it, and you are telling yourself.
It's like also not saying what you don't want, focus on what you
Right,
do want.
do not focus on what you don't want, don't say what you do not want. Focus on success, right before you go to bed and when you wake up are when your brain is the most receptive. So that's when I would focus and manifest and put it out in the universe, right? If you have read The Secret, that's exactly what that whole book is about, is manifesting. The law of attraction, because that's why I tell new agents, when they're new, just focus on real estate. I don't care what it is, preview, videos, read, whatever, because the energy you put in is the energy you're gonna get back.
Mhm.
So keep it in the present. It's a great day. Not it's going to be a great day. Success comes to me easily. I am a billionaire. Record your own voice doing affirmations. He said, I love cold calling. I love lead generating. Keep telling yourself, I love it. I love it. I love it. And eventually your brain is going to believe it.
After bold, anyone that came in and they were like having a down moment, I would make them stand up and shout 3 times, I'm a great sales agent.
Yeah,
That was the way to get them back into motivation.
yeah. Write your goals down, because it's a visual thing and your brain picks up on that. That's where a vision board is so powerful. A vision board is so powerful for goals and manifesting. Do incremented goals as well as long-term goals. Break it up into sections and work on those sections. I don't care what your goals are. Jackie knows I always say this. I don't care what your goals are. I don't care if your goal is to sell 500 houses this year. All I want to know is, what are you going to do to get to those goals? Because a goal is great, but unless you have a plan, it's not going to work. And you've got to do the plan. And if you do big outrageous goals, you're going to be a little disappointed and it will feel like failure to you. You're almost setting yourself up for disaster if you do that. I would definitely do manifesting and just try it. Just try it and see how it works. I mean, Jackie and I use it a lot and it is amazing. So all of this kind of wraps up this book. And I know that's a lot of info, but we talked about time management, regular training, getting the best buyers, marketing, what to do visually, what to do with your buyers, your follow-up and your client bonding. The biggest thing take away from this is have a plan and consistently do it. Don't willy-nilly run your business like a business, not a hobby.
You
Okay.
are a Fortune 500 company.
Yes, you are a Fortune 500 company.
We had a few chats.
Okay,
Regarding when we were talking about social media ideas, Frank Alfaro said like a few of the social medias he's followed is there's a gentleman that makes funny home tours. And another one that their gimmick is they do 60-second home tours.
yeah.
And he's found those very helpful.
I think the 60-second home tour is brilliant because I start watching those home tours and I'm like, yeah, whoop, they lose me quickly. But if it's funny and fast, I'm gonna watch it.
Then JP says having adding the school districts for your clients into like kind of like the info to your clients at closings for those that have young children.
Yeah,
And then he's asked, what is a good closing gift? We should find out their likes.
right.
And so like Misty says, she tends to overthink and ends up getting basic closing gifts. So I think her tidbit is just pick something, already have your system.
But I'm gonna tell you too, that the closing gift is minimal. It's the service that you give
Yes.
while you're in escrow that trumps the closing gift every single time.
But there's agents just, you know, giving
Ridiculous things.
big old you know, gifts like barbecues. or-
And I'm gonna tell you that I've done this for 25 years and I've never given gifts like that. Sometimes I don't give a gift.
Yeah.
If I have paid for something in escrow, if I have discounted something, I do not give a gift. They still come back to me. Most of my business is repeat business and referrals. So the gift is not the focus. It's got to be how you treat them, the
The
service.
service.
That's what's gonna bring them back,
No one's
not
gonna
the
buy a
gift.
house from you because you're giving them a bunch of cheap crap.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
Buy them a home warranty, you know. How you-
A home warranty, yeah, the home warranty, I like, if nothing else, Misty, buy a home warranty, and I make sure they remember that I bought that home warranty for them. When I close, I'll say, now, don't forget, I bought you that 1-year home warranty, and this is, you know, blah, 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 this is how it works. If something goes wrong, you call them, don't call the service, you know, I go through the whole spiel. So, and then I'll say, and if you want to renew it, they'll send you a renewal, the option to renew, and it's gonna be probably about $600 or $700. So they know how much it cost, right? So they know it wasn't like a $50 gift that I gave them. So yeah, what else we got?
JP's question was, when you wake up, you ask yourself, how is my day going to be?
You can do that. But you could also just put it out
I'm gonna
there,
have a
this
great
is the
day.
best day ever. This is, my day is great. My day is wonderful.
Be in the present as you have received what you want.
That's right, as if it has already happened. This is the most amazing day ever. And it is the most amazing day ever. We are so fortunate and blessed to be in real estate. The amount of money that we can make is so amazing. I wake up every day happy. Is there stress? Yes, there is stress, but this is the most amazing career you could ever have. I love it. I would never change.
It's funny, yesterday, I was talking to someone about their experience with this other company. And it's the only time I've ever not gotten a job I applied for. And I was just thinking to myself yesterday repeatedly, is like, God puts you where you're supposed to be.
That's
Like,
right.
where we are here, what you give us allows us to grow so much that it's just mind-boggling how amazing it is to be here and be with you.
No, appreciate it. So, yeah, so be thankful for your business, work it like a business. And next week is sales meeting.
Yes, followed by Austin the following week.
Following week, Austin's gonna do a little training for us.
Mhm.
All right, guys, thanks so much. Have a great day.